that donations are still active. If they're not, I haven't been told, so please feel free to correct me. But exclamation point donate in the chat if you want to get into this one. The prize pool is over $800. We know we can get some more as we start with FTWin versus Grougrou for life in losers finals of InkStorm 8.
All right, we're going to see Hypnos on that Bamboo, which is going to be super interesting here. They're going to have Obito on the H3D, maybe wanting to get that double armor off to maybe dissuade Shaq on the CDS. But first cap does go to Grougrou, and it's looking like FTWin are playing this a bit slow. They haven't left their plat yet, and they're just waiting for their armors to pop and getting ready to push in.
Yeah, this actually reminds me a lot of the Piranha Pit game where Hanron was able to get some really early picks and they got the early zone, but FTWin did just enough to make sure there wasn't too big of a push going against them here, and then they sort of made a counter push and took that the distance. So I think, again, that does become the strategy here that they try to use. You can see already 2 down now for Grougrou, and Kyo has actually switched over to the Tri-Slosher as well here. He's been using pretty much every bucket over the course of this, but it's very interesting to see how he has developed that weapon as well. I know it wasn't long ago he said he hated it.
Not long ago too. We had a little bit of a 1v1 between the Zap and the Bamboo in the middle there, as Grougrou retake the zone and put a bit of a penalty on FTWin, getting back to that zone first. Armors do get popped. They're looking for the engage here. They do manage to take down one. That's a second as well, so I think this is Grougrou's zone, unless Biscuit can pull something off, which doesn't seem to be happening here. So Grougrou now have a big advantage here. Finally, a full wipe on the enemy team is going to give them an opportunity to push up, potentially put some pressure onto that plat. But obviously, they do want to get the paint control. They do want to make sure that they have majority control of the area. That's giving FTWin time though, as they're starting to come back in. They've got their armors. They're going to pop them. We'll see how that plays out.
They are, and this is a very, very scary spot to use Inkjet, and he might be able to get the pick here, and you actually see Bursty going over there to try to get the pick, but you see now that got them nothing, and now they're all stacked up on this right side. This game might be over right here, right now, unless Biscuit can pull one of the craziest plays that I've ever seen. He's going to fight, he's going to continue to fight, and he's not going to be able to get a pick as we tick down here to the final 5 seconds.
That was way too tight. Grougrou made an amazing recap there, shutting FTWin out completely on that second half of the zone. And no Inkjets, no armors could have stopped that. They just were taken down bit by bit. And I think that kind of comes with the comp that Grougrou were running. They chose a bit more long range on that one, and I think that definitely worked out for them. Hypnos on that Bamboo doing a really good job of shutting down any advances. And armor or not, you can't get in if you haven't got like an entry, and they weren't getting an entry. Grougrou were doing a great job shutting them out.
They were, and you know, one other thing to note here is earlier in that match when we saw Biscuit trying to get a couple revenge picks onto Gray, those picks were going in the Hanron set. It seemed like every time Hanron had something open, Biscuit was in the right position to get the revenge pick and then maybe another and then continue to engage with a third. Those picks, I think, are the picks that you almost rely on when you have a comp like this to fall in order to maintain some control when all is starting to fade away. Because again, like you said, it's a little bit of a range game in that scenario. So when those picks don't fall, it can snowball very quickly, whether it's nerves, whether it's movement, whether it's just, you know, you can't hit your shots 100% of the time. But those need to fall if FTWin's going to get back in this set.
But I can't really say too much about FTWin playing poorly there. I think Grougrou just outplayed them. Like, both teams were playing really well. It just so happened that the fights fell in favor of Grougrou. There was no moment where FTWin's truly like stumbled. So hopefully they can pick themselves back up and get right back into this. I think because it's their map pick, so they have the opportunity here, and they really want to take this one back. I think this will define the momentum of the game if they don't. If Grougrou take those first two, it's going to be an uphill climb for FTWin to make a reverse sweep. So equaling this one out with maybe running the same comp, you know, showing that they can fight those longer range comps, and they can do a good job with this with just the one armor to take the rest of the enemy out.
Now the counter pick. This is, I think, a really big one because we've seen that Grougrou is very strong in the other modes. Of course, if you watch the earlier winners final set, Grougrou was able to take a game off of Zarigane Shimetan in both tower control and Rainmaker here. So it's very difficult to convince yourself to counterpick to that. But again, you just lost on zones. Do you go Clean Blitz here, or do you just opt to go with what you think is strongest?
I think it comes down to how well they think they can play as a team against this. I think a shorter range map, like a smaller, more brawly map, would be a good idea for them. Forcing Hypnos onto the Bamboo might work out better for them, but I'm not too sure. I just want to commend you on the way you pronounced the Japanese. That was incredible. I was taken aback. That was brilliant pronunciation.
Your standards are too low, my friend. My pronunciation is not great at all, but hey, I will take any compliment that I can get here. I'm not in the business of saying no to those.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be on TC Reef. So that's what I'm seeing from the side. That'll be updated in a moment. But TC Reef is gonna be an interesting pick again. I think it's a shorter map. Definitely trying to get a more brawly thing going on. Maybe tower control. FTWin thinking that they can utilize Biscuit a bit better on tower control with that Norton and play their more aggressive frontline comp.
Yeah, I think they might. Shaq's weapon is going to be the interesting one to me here because they might go T-Tech and try to double Inkjet. Talking about metas, man. Y'all remember the 3 Inkjet meta? God, I never want to play on Reef again if there's more than 2 Inkjets out. But this was what you did. You could stagger those Inkjets. You really only needed 1 armor. If you applied it halfway through the first Inkjet, it would also allow you to use it for the second Inkjet. So you could make it work with that. It's a ton of pressure, and if they want to put the pressure on Hypnos, there aren't many better options than simply throwing an Inkjet up in their face, forcing them to hit that shot. I think we're going to have our answers here pretty soon. Taking a look at the top, it's not going to be that. They're going to go with the more tried and true Shaq shot to try to run this one.
Yeah, so that's the Shaq shot. We're going to see Hypnos on the more longer range splatter scope here. And Grougrou are going to drop 2 members already. So FTWin are coming out of the gate with a really strong attack. Gray with an amazing shark onto Biscuit, shutting down the start of that push and potentially leaving that as a reset for FTWin. Unless they can take him out here, which they do, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to get too big of a push off of that with one of their main Slayers going down. So a great start there from FTWin.
Yeah, great job there, and they're going to get their first push here. I think this first checkpoint's going to fall without too much trouble. I don't think they're going to pressure it. Will they use the Stingray now is the real question, or are they going to wait until it gets on that nice long line that everyone uses, or is he just going to try to wait this out? Gray's going to be sitting all the way back. There it is, waiting for the right time to use it, but Gray's not going to be able to move up for free here. Has to be careful falling right into 2 people, and does get taken out very quickly.
Yeah, huge pick there from FTWin. It's going to be a scarper for Grougrou to get back on the tower. They managed to scare FTWin off. FTWin doing a really good job backing out there. The pick's just falling in Grougrou's favor, but Gray punished, very heavily punished there for dropping in. Shaq taking a great kill. Mid control is in the favor of Grougrou. They have got the armor lined up as well as one of their Inkjets, but the splashdown online for FTWin.
Yeah, and look at that, already taken out. Great movement there by Biscuit, decided to go that way. And they actually sent 3 to the top of the screen. What a decision there to send 3 people at the same spot to defend. You don't see that very often. But again, if you understand where the threat is, you can make that call and say, hey, there are 2 people defending the tower, and one of them's stuck in Stingray. Let's just go take this right now. And it's those calls that are the things that are allowing you to decipher the game state and move up and take advantage of your opponent's weaknesses.
Yeah, FTWin doing an amazing job there individually. They just play so well together. 2 down for them, though, so I think the push is going to come to an end. They do manage to get 2 on the side of Grougrou, though. Biscuit with the huge Inkjet is going to get some great usage out of it, but Grougrou going to be respawning, going to have advantage there because of the tower spot, and I'm pretty sure this might be the end of the push unless Biscuit can get some miracle kills here. Gray having a bit of a face-off, does want to get the armor just in case, just in case, yeah, and they have 2 armors now online, so he has the backup ready for if they want to make a push.
3 people ending up by Biscuit there. It's an unfortunate way for that one to end for Biscuit, but I think Biscuit did the job there to make sure that they didn't get a lot of mid control. The fact that they were able to come from that side does mean that at the very least they were able to sneak somebody over bridge, but I think, again, it's just been too much of a scramble. Both sides willing to cede a little bit of ground, but not give away total control.
Yeah, FTWin here, like, playing this fast and loose. They don't want to commit too much. They've got the armor. They're going to take the bridge now, so that's going to be a huge position for them. Kyo scaring literally 3 members of Grougrou off into their own plat. So that push is not going to be as possible. Big pick on Biscuit from Hypnos.
If he hadn't got... Were we thinking the same thing? But like, oh, well, there go 3 people. Biscuit's running up with the charge. Crazy shot by Hypnos to keep that one in game.
That was a massive pick. Yeah, that's why he's on this team. His charger is actually incredible, and why he hasn't been going bamboo even on a brawly map like this. 2 down on either side. Hypnos jumps out just to keep the Stingray. That's 3 down now. So Grougrou with another advantage here. Hypnos popping the rain. Not gonna get much off of this, I don't think. Kind of a bit of a poor pop for me, but not to matter really, as Grougrou, the rest of the team does get back in. Bridge control hasn't flipped yet, but Kyo there, shocking, waiting.
Yep, and then we see the splashdown cancel, the most commonly executed tech at high-level Splatoon, but that was pretty interesting there. I think Kipper won like a 1v2 that he wasn't supposed to. He was calling for help maybe from that Stingray, and then he was like, oh wait, never mind, I got it. But now we have a good look. Kipper is sharked in a very, very dangerous spot. They're not going to be able to drop, and Kyo actually was able to get him. That's huge. The armor, they need to be able to push in quick. If Gray can get a pick or two here, they might be able to get the lead and a whole lot more. Bombs on the tower, 2-1. Can they hold it just enough to get the lead? And now if Biscuit can't get these picks, they might get more.
Scrappy fight. It's just Kyo versus Obito. He gets the kill. That's huge. That's huge. That's going to be a reset now for FTWin. But the lead going to Grougrou. Very close there. Just getting through the checkpoint. Absolute skirmish on the tower. But that's going to be really tough for FTWin now. They don't want to go too down in this set. They need to make an aggressive play here. Hypnos has the Ray. He's holding onto the GG Ray. He knows what the win condition is. Kyo taking control of the bridge. He's looking to go deep, I think. Gray nearly ready with the second armor. Its picks are coming out on either side. The Ray comes out. 7 seconds remain. Bursty has to stay on the tower. He has to stay alive. This is huge. They're getting the checkpoint down. Trade's going back and forth. He's on the tower. He gets the lead. That's insane.
Unbelievable. What is it with these teams in tower control? These two have put on game after game. It seems like it ends the exact same way with somebody in that to survive and to understand where two people were attacking from the top there and to fight through the armor as well. Double armor. Obito almost clutched that off of the super jump as well. But what a way to hold on to continue to fight. I would have paid money to be inside that VC right there. I will not repeat what I'm sure Kyo was saying in that, but what a way to get momentum going back in your favor after a really rough game one.
That was insane. That was insane. I did not expect that. That was such both of those pushes, both Grougrou's push and the push from FTWin, both of them skirmishes on the tower at that checkpoint. That was insane. Hypno just not getting the usage out of that Stingray. Way too close to cool. I genuinely didn't know when that was gonna go. I mean, honestly, FTWin needed that game. That's going to be huge for their momentum. You know what they're like. You know what that team's like. They're NA powerhouses, but once they get hyped, that train starts moving. So I think that's really big for them. Grougrou are going to have to come up with a great counter pick to work against that.
Oh, man, okay, we can take a breath now. Goodness gracious, well, we did see there again, like you said, the skirmishing map. And in those situations, when you have those just insane moments, it just becomes about composure, right? We all know that at the end of it all, it's identifying what the optimal move is to make in that situation. If it's to swim forward and fire, to throw a bomb, to build your special, it's just on whichever team is able to identify that and communicate it the best amongst the four of them. And then in those situations right there, it's who can not forget how to do that, because your brain stops working after a minute and it all becomes instinct. And some of the best play I think you can see in tower control is what we saw there at the end from Bursty, hopping off the tower at the right time, throwing a bomb up there to make sure that his teammates had just a little bit more chip damage to break through some armor, a couple more shots, but above all else, survivability and making sure he didn't give up the tower to try to go for some crazy pick or something like that.
It was that survivability that was everything there. Bursty doing a huge job there. Like that Stingray, that could have ended it. But he was on and off, keeping himself alive. He managed to get a pick, I believe, at the end as well to clean up and got on that tower and just finished it off. Amazing play by FTWin. And you can see why they're such a powerhouse. Their composure is incredible in moments like that. However scrappy the fight gets, people going down left and right, he managed to keep it together, and honestly, it was just a big match. That was a huge moment. I can't get over it. That's just crazy.
It's these two, it's crazy, and yet at the same time, we expect it from these two.
Oh, yeah.
It's second verse, same as the first. They will continue to throw everything they have at each other, and I believe we just heard what our next map and mode is going to be.
I think... Okay, we're going to go straight into it. It's going to be Rainmaker on Snapper Canal. So what's your thoughts real quick? 5 seconds.
Oh,
I put you on the spot. It's fine. Hypnos with the CTS.
It's so tough because I'm like, this is one of those maps where I feel like you can never say don't take it left or don't take it right or something like this. It's be ready for everything. All's on the table. Anything goes.
I think the call to have Hypnos on this on the CGS on this map is a really strong one. Stingray spam here is quite strong, especially on these uphill climbs. Getting away from that big wide Ray hitbox is going to be tough, and they want to get as many of those as they can. A good CGS player can get at least 7 in a game. He's already popped off the first one in the first 30 seconds, and we're going to be seeing that all game, so don't you worry. So that's going to be the go-to.
A little slower than I was expecting there, to be perfectly honest with you. But one thing I do want to say here about this, and I completely forgot this, Grougrou dominated this map when these two teams played for the first time. Like, Kiver was moving every which way. There were 5 of him on the map at one time. It just seemed like no matter where they tried to identify where he was, when they rotated over, it was a second too late, and he'd already moved to a more optimal position. So I mean, Rainmaker aside, this map just favors the way that they play, their movement, their understanding of it.
I think that might be going against FTWin's mentality. They know that they've been on this match, and I'm pretty sure Grougrou knew when they picked it that they won this comfortably. And so far, it's looking like that. They do go down, but a push to 29 in the first minute and a bit is quite strong. Shaq here on the Shaq DS, getting a couple picks here was supplemented by Kyo. So that's gonna be the reset for the Rainmaker there. But definitely a really strong push out of Grougrou at the start.
Yeah, great push early on, and again, you're going to see all the time it's going to take for Kyo here to just try to get back to mid, and you see him going for a shark almost immediately here. The respect that he has and understanding that if he overextends just a little bit, he might get punished. He understands that they need a lot to go right in order to equalize here. He's moved back over here. The Ray is out of the way. If he can survive a little longer, they might be able to make this push, but you see, again, Obito coming in with the CDS. Again, Gray holds them in one spot. The engagement goes on. The CDS rolls in and cleans up. It's just methodical.
And the other CDS escapes, even though he was deep in trouble. CDS moment. But that Ray there coming out, really strong Ray from Hypnos, doing a really good job at slowing FTWin and making sure they lost some of the momentum for that push. Definitely supplemented by Gray, who's doing a great job getting those picks and popping that armor, which definitely controlled the fight. Only 2 alive for FTWin now, but they're gonna have control of the enemy street. The backline hasn't quite spawned in yet, but he is going for the Ray. You know he's going for the Ray, getting ready just for another push, just in case they try and make an aggressive play. And that's just gonna shut anything down. If you can get that activated, it's gonna be huge for them.
Yeah, and that's the real frustrating thing, is Grougrou is not in the business of giving any picks away for free. And we talk about them being aggressive, but they're always measured in the way they're attacking. They take the engagements that they feel comfortable with, they wait for the scenarios that they like to take their fights in, and then they go from there. So when you finally do get a pick or two and open it up, to know that the Stingray is going to be there to slow you down just long enough for them to get 1 or 2 of those players back in, I mean, it is frustrating. And we saw in that Mako Mart game earlier, and we'll have that discussion later, Mako versus Mako, that fight earlier that we saw there, it was just Stingray and Toxic Mist, and they did that to eliminate any chances of things snowballing out of control. They've done the same here, but as I say that, it looks like FTWin's getting something going.
Yeah, Biscuit here doing a great job controlling the area. They need to get that pick on Hypnos. He's dangerously close to the Ray. Rainmaker does go down. He's just getting it. He has it now. This is going to be really dangerous. They need to take him out. Otherwise, he's just going to stop the push. And yeah, Biscuit goes straight down there. Kyo can't do anything. No armor's going to save the Rainmaker carrier. But the Stingray's down. 3 members are still up for FTWin. Well, 2 members are still up for FTWin. And Kyo popping off, getting a kill. Going for 1 more. Tries to take out Hypnos. He's pushing really aggressively here. He thinks that he can help him out. Gets 1 more. He's pushing Hypnos back. He's opening it up for his team. This is a huge opportunity for them.
It is, but in the midst of all that, they were able to get the Rainmaker reset, so all these picks that Kyo get really don't amount to a lot. Everyone has come back and respawned, and now it's actually FTWin who's stuck in split spawn. Biscuit needs to come up huge here, and Protecti actually gets 1 pick. The points are going to come very quickly here, and of course a Stingray at exactly the right time, right when you need it. Hypnos coming up with it again!
You see, with that main weapon, the Stingray main weapon is such a powerful backliner, and you know, when it's supplemented by the special of the Jet Squad, sure, it just that great area denial. It's amazing. But yeah, Hypnos did a really good job collecting that Ray. It's super fast. I believe he's already on 5. So we'll see if we can get a couple more towards the end of it. But a close match here. Shaq with a huge pick. That's going to be a 3v4 here. They need to pressure Hypnos. He's in the spawn. What do you expect?
Exactly what you expect. They grab it there to try to get a couple more points, but of course, a million bombs being thrown there, and woo! Stingray, everybody! But really, no, I don't Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we can make fun of Stingray all we want. It's that utilization of the Ray that makes it strong. People say it's a sleeper weapon. It's sleeper. Nobody likes playing Ray. It's boring. But Hypnos did an incredible job there, controlling the flow of the fights. It didn't matter if he had the Stingray or not. He was denying space. He was doing a great job holding the street. The Stingray was great in those pinch moments. Even Kyo was trying his best to help his team. But you really need to aggress on that Stingray. You need to get behind the enemy lines. And when there's a team as strong as Grougrou just backing up this incredibly strong Ray user, you're not going to be able to get to it. So still a close match, but definitely utilizing that Ray to all of its facets.
Absolutely. And the other thing about this too, to not take away from any of the other members of Grougrou here, is that it's a cog in the machine, but the machine still needs to be able to run, right? They had weapons that aren't necessarily the best at holding the opponent back, right? With the exception of Obito's survivability, Gray and Kimmer just kind of have to pick good angles to shoot from, throw bombs there, and try to stall just long enough for Hypnos to get that. I know that, of course, it seems like, of course, Hypnos has it every time he needs it, but credit where it's due here. To be able to survive just long enough for Hypnos to get that is something that everybody has a hand in. So, again, another close game, and I wonder, do you think FTWin's going to take this back to tower control?
I'm not sure. Well, it looks like they're going to be taking it down to Rainmaker on Sturgeon Shipyard, but
interesting.
That's an interesting pick, especially with Hypnos using the CGS. This is a historically really strong custom jet map, as well as a strong charger map. So maybe they're trying to throw it up in the air on what they're deciding to do. Another thing I just want to quickly mention about the Ray, the way Hypnos was playing was incredibly defensive, which is great if you wanted to spam the Rays, but that also puts an intense amount of just pressure on the front lines. So Gray, Kiver, and Obito doing an amazing job holding down against 4 members of FTWin on that front line is incredible.
It really is. And I too am a little bit, I won't say confused necessarily, but I would love to be in the BC right now and identify what it is they're looking for, because FTWin, they are a bunch of mega minds, right? They always pick there's always a very decided reason for what they pick. They're not the types that say, let's just go with what feels right here. And to not go with tower control, the mode that you beat them on twice, to instead go for Rainmaker in a pretty open map. Like you said, I feel like Hypnos would be well at home with a lot of his picks here. I guess maybe they're just trusting that if they can open the game up a little bit, that they can get a lot of points, that they feel that their aggression can work here. Maybe they're just trying to enable Biscuit on a wider map.
Or it might be the salty run back. that's my. I don't know you put. I'll just say it might be the salty. FTWin not happy with losing on that Rainmaker match. There, thinking if we go to a map with a lot more open ways to get to that podium, but we can do it. We can win. So this is us. We're bringing it back. You won't control us on Rainmaker. This won't happen again on winner's side.
Actually, I didn't even really think about that. Yeah, this is a map where you have a lot of ways to attack the opposing backline. So if they felt like they couldn't get access to Hypnos at any part during that, this is certainly a map where you're going to have plenty of chances and plenty of ways to attack the backliner, unless they're all the way back at spawn, and that's a long way. They are taking themselves out of the play effectively if they do that. So I think you may be right here. There is some real wisdom to this if you can make it work.
Yeah, most definitely. Early pop going towards FTWin, so they are controlling mid here. They are looking again to take out Hypnos, but he jumps back almost immediately. As soon as he saw Kyo, he was like, nope, I'm gone, bye, and he does take out the Rainmaker, so that's going to be a stop to the push for now, but Kyo's still controlling, they're still controlling the mid there with FTWin, so they might have stopped the push on Grougrou, but it's not quite over yet. The fight's not over yet.
No, fight's not over, and as long as they have control of Spinner there in the mid, you know that there's going to be plenty of opportunities to attack. And yeah, Biscuit's actually going to go ahead and launch a Hail Mary of an Inkjet right there to try to get a couple picks. They've actually managed to scramble him up a little bit here. Jack's going to go ahead and get another pick. It's going to be the Stingray again, but that's going to be the last defense they have. They're going to get another pop right here, and this time they might be able to get a few more.
Well, this is the picks, though. They need the picks here. If they can take just a couple members of the enemy team out before Hypnos gets that Ray, which I don't think is going to happen because Hypnos' Ray just pummeling up. He's already at 70%. You just know he's going to have another one next fight. And regardless of this aggression that they've been pulling, Grougrou are being enabled by this Ray. Not just because it's stopping the Rainmaker push, but because it's making FTWin go back to mid, get their specials, reset, try again. An opportunity though, 2 down on the side of Grougrou for life.
And again, wow, the way that Shaq was engaging with that fight there, he didn't just jump into that for no reason. He was trying to get the pick there, but that's going to be a full wipe. It all falls apart so quickly. And, you know, the other thing about this is it just forces FTWin to make all the right plays sequentially here. It's one thing to know that you have to deal with a Stingray. It's another thing to know that you have to execute properly to get past the armor. Then you have to identify where Kivir is sharking in. And then after all that, you still have to have enough survivability after the Ray. It can't take out two of you, and it's going to take out your Rainmaker. That much is pretty certain. So again, it just forces them to make so many right plays sequentially, and that kind of consistency is not easy to maintain.
It's like Grougrou is setting up an obstacle course for FTWin to overcome, and they keep falling at the second hurdle. It's a very tough thing to play against, especially when you're fighting a team that executes so well off of the back of that. But again, this is all to say that Hypnos is executing these incredibly well. Like, the fact that he has a Ray every time is nothing to sneeze at. Whilst it might be a low percentage special to get, you still need to get that special 3 times in 5 minutes. Sorry, 3 times, not even 5, 3 times in a minute, just to stop FTWin, who was so aggressive and aggro. Ray not kind of getting what it wanted there, though, so this is an opportunity for FTWin.
It is. Ray not getting what it wanted, but he's moved over here. Can Bursty find the points here? They're trying to get a jump in. Needs to stay up here. If he falls down, you can kiss this push goodbye, and that's going to be taken down already, even after all that. You know, the other thing here is it's also nice when Kivir can completely invalidate a push one way just by throwing a low commitment Toxic Mist out here. And he did this as well in the earlier set on Magomar, just making sure that they couldn't go that way. And again, when you can effectively eliminate somebody one way of pushing with just your sub, I mean, that just makes it so much more difficult. Like you said, an obstacle course that they just keep adding new obstacles to mid-set.
Definitely here, and Biscuit trying to get some... Oh, that was a beautiful shot. Oh, but wait, Hypnos was the one with the Rainmaker. This is a huge opportunity for FTWin. They need to push in aggressively now. He doesn't have the Ray. It's going to be... It's on 60%. They've got an opportunity. If they can get in now, make an aggressive play, there's nothing that he can do. Great. Doing a really good job of stopping them. Bertie goes down. Ray comes out a little bit late, and that's Grougrou again stopping them on the obstacle course.
I'm not sure why the Rainmaker pushed up ahead there. I think the Rainmaker was the first to climb that wall if they were just trying to deal with Gray, if they weren't entirely sure where Hypnos was in terms of having his Ray. But again, it just seems like something was a little wrong. And look at this. They're going to sit up here and melt as much clock as they possibly can. They have to go right at the Rainmaker. They don't have enough time to try to get 2 pushes in. It's got one more chance.
Kill in a good position here to take out a couple. Wants that CDS, but he can't quite get it. He knows his team's backing him up. Gray's gonna fall. Wait, oh, okay. Gray's gonna fall off the map. A couple seconds there. Gray's gonna fall off the map, and that's gonna be a reset here. 20 seconds left on the clock. They have an opportunity. The Ray is out. They need to force it out early. They do manage to force it out early. Bursty does get taken down, but the advantage here is towards FTWin. It's a 2v2. They have the pop. One goes down. Oh, that's not great. That's not great at all. Spawn advantages. That's 2 down. That's gonna be it. Thoughts?
I mean, we saw the same gameplay loop for 5 minutes. Like, at some point, like, I can't glossy this up any more than it already is. It's so many things have to go right to get a big push against a strong team. And you can see right there, Hypnos did have the 6 Rays, but it seemed like every single one of those Rays, like you said, was saved and used at the exact right moment. And they got just enough picks to make sure that there wasn't well, we took out the Rainmaker, but they had 3 people. They immediately got the pop, and they took advantage of the fact that we were Stingraying. We were out of the match to get some more points. They had the right people sharking around. And again, it's just understanding what is required of the opponent to get those big pushes, to take the lead from you. And if you understand what the conditions they're looking for are, if you can mitigate any of that, then it just becomes a matter of everybody doing their job. And Grougrou for life, I think, showing you what their strategy is on Rainmaker. And they're going to continue to run that all the way through the tournament.